Hey everybody, welcome to Galactic Wisdom. Something very special has happened. It's the kind of thing that many UFO researchers, paranormal investigators could only ever wish for, and that is to have a face-to-face encounter with a non-human intelligence. That is what happened to me 3 weeks ago, and I videoed it, and I'm going to show you the video. I will show the video first, and then I will talk about what's going on in the video afterwards. Here it is. Do you see that orb? Hello? Oh, look at you. Hello. Welcome. My name is Rupert, and I'm wondering, who are you? Can you talk to me? Yeah, I can see you. What's your name? Oh, you're beautiful. Are you a alien? A non-human entity, or are you a human spirit? You are not a lens flare. You're in a set location. When I move the camera backwards and forwards, I'm going to come closer to you. Whew. Okay, that is a video of a human being interacting with a non-human intelligence. That is me communicating with, having an interaction with an orb. What exactly is an orb? How did I come to be there? And what are the implications of this experience? That's what I'm going to talk about today. So this is a very special episode. This is like getting footage of a Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. This is big. And this could well be, in the next few days or weeks, starting to get onto the news. You might see this on TV. This is pretty amazing. This is pretty special. And today's Galactic Wisdom show is the story of how this came to be. So I was on my UFO contact tour around the US. This was a 6-week tour. I got in my car and I drove around 16 different states. I hosted, it was about 24 different UFO or alien contact events. And I was close to the end of this tour, and I was having a lot of time during all of this driving to look at YouTube videos of different alien crashes, different alien theories, and I stumbled upon some videos that were talking about Bradshaw Ranch in Sedona. Now, Sedona is generally recognized as being a very, very spiritual place in the US, and it's generally recognized that there's a lot of alien or UFO activity in Sedona. And Bradshaw Ranch is in Sedona, or a little bit outside of the main populated area. And I started to watch videos on Bradshaw Ranch. Now, Bradshaw Ranch is kind of like Skinwalker Ranch. There is something going on at that location. Something about the location is such that paranormal things happen and alien things happen. Maybe they're the same thing. Maybe they're connected. I'm not sure exactly how or why that connection is there. But Bradshaw Ranch, I did some research on it. I watched some YouTube videos on it, and you can't trust anything really that's on YouTube. But I did this research, and it started to sound more and more interesting. And I decided that because on my contact tour, one of the last events is Sedona, the last but one events the last but one event on May 22nd. That was a Friday. That was going to be in Sedona. And the evening before that, I was hosting a contact event in Phoenix, Arizona. Had a wonderful evening event on the Thursday evening in Phoenix, Arizona. And following on from that event, which ended probably about 10:30 in the evening, I got in my car, and instead of sleeping in my car, which is what I usually do when I'm on tour, I went for my usual Taco Bell that I have after my contact events. And I got that, and I headed off in my car to Sedona. It was something like 2.5 hours away, something like that. And I didn't have much time in Sedona to spare because I was on this tour, and the very next day I was going to be hosting an event in Las Vegas on my way back through to California. And so I decided that same evening, after I had just arrived in Sedona, I was going to drive out to Bradshaw Ranch. It was going to be about 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, but I wanted to see what was out there. And so I drove straight to, well, as far to Bradshaw Ranch as you can get, because the roads to Bradshaw Ranch are all unpaved, and my Toyota Avalon couldn't handle getting all the way there. But it was a bit dodgy. The rocks started to get bigger and bigger on this unpaved road, and I had to pull over and walk over a mile to get to the ranch itself. But that's what I did. I walked to the ranch, and I got there probably about 20 past 1 in the morning on that Friday. And I had a look around. Now, Bradshaw Ranch has been known for, or at least people believe that there are not just aliens, UFOs, orbs, but ghostly phenomena there also. Portals is one thing that a lot of people think are there. And so I didn't know what I was going to find when I got there. Now, I had heard that the government had bought that land and that they had fenced off part of that area. And that's what I found when I got there. I walked up to a fenced area, and clearly no go. And I thought, well, maybe that's as far as I could get. But I turned on my night vision camera and I started recording just in case I saw anything. And I'm pointing it all the way around, and then I start walking around the corner. And around the corner, there is the actual entrance to Bradshaw Ranch. And this is a photo that I took at about 1:31 on that morning. And that is the entrance. Now, as you can see, even though there's a fence on the left and a gate on the right, I don't think, I didn't go past that gate, but I think you can just walk around that gate and walk inside. People have later told me that to the left of where the government fence is, you can also just walk around, walk inside. And I didn't know that you wouldn't get into trouble if you walked onto Bradshaw Ranch. So I just walked up to this entrance, and I didn't think I was going to trespass. And honestly, just turning on my light there was a little bit nerve-wracking, because it's in a valley. It's surrounded by trees. It was extremely dark. Obviously the sun was down. The moon hadn't yet risen above the horizon, and I did not know if I was even going to be shot at after looking at some of the videos of military encounters that people have had in this area with unpeaceful, aggressive military personnel. So I was just walking around hoping not to get shot, and I looked around with my night vision camera. I had my headlamp that I was holding in my left hand, just shining it around as I'm looking around. And as I look at the ranch, the entrance there, don't see anything unusual. And then I do a 10-second sort of 360-degree look around, and when I bring the camera back to that entrance, in front of that tree, there's an odd haze that I can see through the night vision camera, this odd haze. And, you know, I've seen lots of odd things through this night vision camera. Hundreds, many hundreds of times I've seen something and thought, oh, that's interesting. What's that? And so, you know, it caught my attention, but I didn't think it was probably going to be anything other than an insect or, you know, a fluffy seed um, pod or something. And it started to drift upwards, and I thought, okay, well, that looks like some kind of like a seed, fluffy dandelion seed thing. But then I started to think, well, no, that's looking a bit bigger than a seed pod, and it's not close to the camera yet. It seems to be hazy and sort of out of focus, but everything else is in focus. And I watched it go up, and as I'm watching it go up, I'm wondering if it's something unusual. So I start talking to the camera, and I said, hey, do you see that orb? Because that's what it looked like. It kind of looked like a hazy, misty orb, like a ghost-like haze of volume. And then when it got high enough, I decided, well, if it is intelligent, I don't want it to drift away. So I said, hello to it. That was a change. That was a change in not just who I'm talking to, but in my mind, I am now talking to it. And immediately upon saying hello, and you can see this in the video, immediately upon saying hello, it changed direction and came back down. And then I realized, oh, that just responded to me. This and insects don't generally, well, seed pods don't drift up and then come back down. And insects, it didn't seem to have an insect motion. And why would an insect change direction and come back down in the way that it was doing? And I suddenly realized, almost certainly, I wasn't 100% convinced yet, but almost certainly I was talking to one of these things that I've heard about my entire life. I've never seen them. I've never seen a decent photo of them. All the photos of them that I've seen look like little bits of dust blowing around in the wind. I was talking to an orb. I was talking to a fairly small blue orb. I couldn't really tell what size it was because I couldn't see how close it was to me, but I was guessing it was this sort of size, like I guess the size of a football. English football, like a soccer ball. And I was talking to it, and it was hovering there in front of that shrub, paying attention to me as I was talking. It wasn't drifting up. Wasn't drifting away. It was sort of drifting around backwards and forwards like this. And I'm like, what do I say? What do I say? And rather stupidly, I said, welcome to it, which is ridiculous because I'm the intruder in that space. I'm the person who is like either the visitor or the intruder, and I'm saying welcome to it. So then I'm thinking, okay, what do I say? And I introduced myself. I said, well, hey, my name is Rupert. And then I started talking to it, and I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know if I would get any responses. There was not a telepathic connection that I felt. But what I will tell you is that while I was walking to this ranch, about a quarter of a mile away, I started to feel those physiological symptoms that tell me that I'm not alone. As I'm walking to Bradshaw Ranch, I start to get the high-pitched tones in my ear. That is always a sign to me that beings are near. And when I'm with psychic people, even multiple psychic people, and I get those tones, they see the beings come in. And I was getting that same ringing when I was down there in the area of the entrance to Bradshaw Ranch. So I was pretty convinced I was talking to a paranormal entity. And so I started to ask questions to listen to if I was receiving anything telepathically. I personally couldn't feel a telepathic connection to the being, even though I could sense physiologically that I was not alone. But I asked, well, are you alien? Are you a human spirit? And I didn't pick up on this until afterwards, after I'd watched the video a few times. But this orb is moving in certain ways that could be interpreted as body language in reaction to what I'm saying. And so when it's almost like if you imagine in a Disney Pixar movie, when they animate an inanimate object and they try to give character to a soccer ball or something, you know, how do they give character to it? In its motion. Like if something is scared, it might tremble. If something is angry, it might sort of jitter around like that. And when I look at this video, I ask the question, are you alien? I'm not sure I get much from that, but are you a non-human intelligence or entity? It seems to drift forwards. When I ask, are you a human spirit? It seems to drift backwards. And I don't know. Could that be confirmation? Could that be a yes? Could that be a no? I don't know, but it's interesting because that's the sense that I get from watching it. And so I talk to this being for just a short while. I try to see if I can find out if it can communicate with me. I don't hear anything. I don't sense anything. Just to convince the people who might watch this video afterwards that what is in that camera is not a lens flare, because most of the videos out there of orbs that I see, well, there's a light up here and the light refracts through the lens, and on the other side you get a lens flare and it looks like an orb, and all you have to do is move the camera around and you'll see that the lens flare is always on the opposite side of the light source. So I moved the camera backwards and forwards and that didn't happen. It stayed in the same place. So then I thought, well, what's the next step? And I felt compelled to move closer to the orb. So I said, I'm going to move closer to you. And as I moved closer to this orb, and I'll show you the video in a minute again, so you can see all this through for a second time. As I moved closer to the orb was moving already closer to me. As soon as I thought, I'm going to move closer to you, the orb was already moving a bit in my direction. I feel that it could sense that I was moving in that direction, and it did this weird sort of little downwards motion, came up again and soared straight past my head. And that was quite rapid, and I wasn't expecting that. So when I saw that come at me, it was like it was coming at me. And although it wasn't scary, that was exhilarating. And you can see in the video that, you know, I sort of gasped as it came past me. And then I was left with the profound feeling of, not only have I just interacted for over a minute with a paranormal or alien orb, I've got it on video. And please, hopefully it did record that, you know. So I will show you this video one more time now that I have talked through it. And then I'm going to tell you some more about the implications of this and what came afterwards. No, that was just the photo of it. Okay, where's the video? There it is. Do you see that orb? Hello? Oh, look at you. Hello. Welcome. My name is Rupert, and I'm wondering, who are you? Can you talk to me? Yeah, I can see you. What's your name? Oh, you're beautiful. Are you a alien, a non-human entity, or are you a human spirit? You are not a lens flare. You're in a set location when I move the camera backwards and forwards. I'm going to come closer to you. Whew. Let me give you my scientific analysis of that, because I'm a space scientist, or at least that's what my qualifications and background are. And so I can look at that and give you some kind of a scientific feedback. Now, I am forever seeing things on video through my own camera and through other people's cameras and photographs and things that initially might look alien or paranormal, but when you really look at them more deeply, more scientific, you realize that no, it's just an insect, it's just a lens flare. So let me give you my analysis of that. First of all, I went away and watched that many, many, many times before feeling confident enough to start telling people I saw an orb. And let me tell you how I reached that conclusion. Could that have been a lens flare? No, we've eliminated that. Lens flare, you need some kind of a light source in the frame of the monitor where you're looking, and that light source refracts through the middle of the lenses, and on the other side, that's where you get the refraction, the lens flare. And so I tried moving the camera left to right, and when I moved the camera left to right, if it had have been a lens flare, then that lens flare would also have moved. That's not what happened. That was an object that was actually there with me. So what kind of object was it? Could it have been something inanimate, like, you know, like a dandelion seed floating through the air? Well, initially it could have been, you know, when it was floating upwards, but then I said hello to it and it changed direction and it came back down. That change in direction is not something that a randomly floating seed pod would do. And clearly at the end of the video, that was a deliberate flight past my head. That was deliberate. There was intelligence behind that. So this is not an inanimate object. This is not some piece of fluff, cotton wool or something floating in the breeze. That was an intelligent something that I was interacting with. So what intelligent things could be out there? Well, insects. You might not think of insects as being particularly intelligent, but could it have been an insect? Well, let me evaluate that. When it comes past the camera, you can see that it has sizable volume. Yeah, I'll do it towards you. Sizable volume, like that sort of size as it comes past the camera. It's at least the size of a large apple. Very likely a little bit larger, maybe the size of an orange, a grapefruit, something like that. What kind of insects are that big and blue? Okay, first of all, there aren't any in the area. You did see some moths in that area. There were insects there, but they were sort of, you could tell they were solid. Whatever passed the camera was not only voluminous, not only did it have volume, it didn't have solidity. It was completely see-through when it passed close to the camera. The moths that came close to the camera, you couldn't see through them, whether they were close to the camera or far away. So what we've got here is something large and see-through. Could it have been out of focus? Well, no, not if the moth that was close to the camera was in focus enough to see that it was a moth. Then when the orb passed close to the camera and didn't seem to have that same level of solidity, then it couldn't, you know, it would have been in focus too. If it was an insect, you would have seen its insectness. And in fact, if you look at the moth that came close to the camera, and you look at the moths that were in the distance closer to the fence, you would see that they're all in focus enough for you to tell exactly what they are. Whether they're distant or whether they're close to the camera, they were in focus. This orb went into the distance, close to the camera, close to the gate, the fence, the archway, and it came right up close to the camera. It traversed a wide range of distances, and in all of that time, if it had have been an insect, it would have come into focus somewhere, but it did not. Instead, it consistently stayed as a roughly spherical volume of diffuse color or light. This was no insect. This was something paranormal. What was its nature scientifically? What can we tell about its nature? Well, from that video, it doesn't seem to be shining brightly. It doesn't seem to be really luminous. Luminous means giving off its own light, like a star, like fire, like lightning. Those things are luminous. Was this object luminous? It wasn't giving off a lot of light. And I'm going to say this is inconclusive. It could have been reflecting light from my flashlight. The only way that I can answer this question is to go back and turn off my flashlight and see if I can still see it through the video camera. And that's what I'm going to do. If it was giving off, if it was very diffuse and luminous, then maybe it just isn't giving off much light, so it's not glowing brightly, but it's still giving off some light. That is entirely possible. So I don't know. If it's giving off its own light, then that probably means, like fire, like lightning, like the sun, it is not a solid, liquid, or gas, but it is the fourth state of matter, which is a plasma. It could be a plasma-based life form. But if it is not luminous, if it's non-luminous, then my best guess would be that it is a gas, a blue gas, which is interesting because you can do a little bit of research on what gases are blue, and you can come up with a small list of possible compositional gases for this orb. So I don't know the answer to that question, but what I can tell you is that it was not solid. It was either gaseous or plasmic in nature. And those two things are very interesting because you can't just have a plasma or a gas in a spherical shape holding its shape without a container, without, say, the gas being inside a balloon or a soccer ball, without the plasma being held by a glass sphere or something. So somehow this consciousness, this entity, whether it was a plasma or a gas, was holding its shape without a visible container. So how would it do that? If it was a plasma, maybe strong electric fields. Could there be new science here that I don't understand yet? Maybe. This is really exciting for me on every level, but also as a scientist, because new science. I've discovered a new phenomena here. Well, I haven't discovered a new phenomena. Lots of people have seen orbs in the past, but I've just got a really great recording of one. So I want to explore. I want to investigate. Now, it turns out that when I went a few days later to a location, a convention with a lot of people who are interested in UFOs, when I went there, I started to have people walk up to me and look at me and say, "Did you know you've got orbs around you?" And this was happening in person, and it was happening online. And I could feel a continuing presence of something with me after that encounter. It seems, I can't prove this even to myself, but it seems as though that orb or an orb representative tagged along with me, hitchhiked with me when I left that place. Could it be just Could it be like a hitchhiker effect? Some of you probably will have heard of this hitchhiker effect, where you visit a paranormal location and a paranormal entity comes with you, away with you. Could it be like that? Maybe. Or could it be that I just established a friendship with, or a connection, a spiritual connection with that orb, and now when I think of it, I connect with it, and sometimes it comes to me? That could be possible, but it does seem to be that I have now established some kind of a spiritual connection with orbs. And this is a spiritual connection that I've been investigating because I have quite a lot of medium friends, psychic friends, a lot of them professionals. And as soon as they saw that video, they contacted me and said, hey, this is what I think that is. This is the feeling, the psychic reading or impression I'm getting from it, or from these people's spirit guides. And every one of them has suggested to me that is not a human spirit, that is a non-human intelligence. Non-human. So when humans die and our spirits come out of us, could we then take the shape of an orb and float around like that? Well, I don't know the answer to that. I would suspect possibly yes. Excuse me. But here's a question. If that's true, why don't we see orbs all around us all the time? If I was able to see and video for over a minute that orb physically, I think, in front of me, then why is it, if it was a human spirit, why aren't they all over the place? I mean, I don't think Bradshaw Ranch is heaven, if there is such a place. I think what's more likely is that is a non-human entity, just from a reasonable level of thinking. I think that there's something about that Bradshaw Ranch area and other areas like Skinwalker Ranch where beings, non-human entities, congregate for some reason. So I don't think that was a human spirit now, even though at the time I asked it that question. I think that was very likely, again, I don't know, I'm careful to tell you what I know and I don't know, but that was very probably a non-human entity. And that's what all of my medium friends and psychic friends are telling me. And I am going to be connecting with my friends, sometimes in groups, sometimes as individuals, to follow up on that and try and reconnect and learn more about the orb, astrally or spiritually. Now, some of my psychic medium friends have told me that they feel, watching that video, that I was drawn to that location, that almost like a spiritual invitation, that they wanted me to go there, that they wanted to meet me. More than one person has said that to me, who I have learned are very reliable in the spiritual things that they say. Could it be that I was drawn there to meet with that orb? And if so, why? Well, why am I doing this at all? Why am I going and connecting with aliens? Well, I'm doing it for 2 or 3 different reasons, and they all sort of combine together. I'm doing it because I want to make friends with everybody, not just people, not just animals, but also non-human entities. And the idea of having a friend as an alien friend, that's cool. I mean, the movie E.T. Hey, there's another movie coming out soon. Was it Elio or something? That looks good. I just watched the trailer of that, Pixar movie or something. I'm going to have to go and see that. But how cool it is to have friends with non-humans. So just making friends, that's one reason why I think I was drawn there and why I was allowed to video for over a minute. I have had people who know that area and have seen orbs there, who have seen my video, who are astonished about what happened in that video, say to me, wow, that orb really liked you. So I am by going around and making contact with these beings, I'm not doing it to try and get their technology. I'm not doing it because I think they're a threat. I'm not doing it because I want them to save us from problems that we're causing ourselves, for ourselves. I'm doing it because I would like to be their friends. And that, I think, is why I had success. When I went into that place, I filled myself with light and love and hope for friendship. And that's what I feel that I was confronted with. So to extend upon that a little bit, my vision of the future that I really base pretty much everything that I do on is the idea of universal peace. Peace comes before everything else. And we've got to be careful because we're pushing ourselves in a direction in the way that people are disclosing information about UFOs, UAPs, and non-human entities. We're pushing in a way that is not really conducive to peace. People are promoting the idea of threats and the aliens being threats to us, for example. What I'm doing is I'm promoting peace. And the word universal in the term universal peace really does mean every conscious entity in the universe. Universal peace, universal love. What that means is not like a romantic love. It means caring for everybody, all conscious life forms, whatever they are. And that's an unconditional love, unconditional caring. It doesn't mean we have to like everything that everybody does, that every life form does. It doesn't mean we have to agree with the actions or like the actions of everybody, but it does mean caring about them, and whatever interactions we have with them, to do it in caring ways. That unconditional love is important because human beings judge, and we judge badly when we don't properly understand. And we don't properly understand non-human intelligences, and as soon as they appear, in fact already, we judge them, and often we judge them negatively, like, oh, they're demons, you know. So this unconditional love is important. Universal peace, universal love, universal well-being. We want the best for everybody. We understand how important it is for us to be well, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Our well-being matters so much to us. It doesn't take much intelligence or much empathy to be able to recognize that those same categories of well-being are important to every conscious life form, whatever they are, whatever they do. So me going into that location with those feelings deeply saturating through me, enabled me to have that connection with those beings. And I feel drawn to go back. And I am going to go back. I cannot go back for about 3 weeks. I've so much that I need to do. I have a very busy schedule, but I'm going to go back to that location in about 3 weeks. And in the meantime, I'm hosting and holding both public and private online meetings where I'm giving everybody opportunities to meditate with me, astrally project to that orb with me, and to find out more about them. If you would like to participate in any of the events that I'm hosting, online or in person, if you would like to watch or read my what's going to be almost daily blogs on what I'm doing in my life to move us in the right direction towards contact, then I encourage you, please, to join this website. This is where the center of my activity is. Now, you can click on that website and then click on the Join for Free button. But if you would like to have a deeper look into my analyses of this orb, the orb encounter, the implications of it, then I recommend that you join one of the tiers within that website. So I now, in my mind, know what I'm going to do when I go back to that ranch. I am going to go in there with the same sort of feelings of light and love and friendship. And I am going to try to establish a communication with that orb or one similar to it. I think that orb was sensing my meaning. I don't think it was well, my guess is it wasn't understanding my words. My guess is from watching that video is it was understanding the intention behind my words. When I said hello to it, I don't know if it could hear me, but it absolutely knew, I think, that I was now talking to it instead of the people watching the video like afterwards. I said hello and it changed its direction. When I started to think I'm going to move towards you, you could see it was preparing to move towards me. It was edging closer. And then as I move towards it, it moves towards me. I think that if I go back there, I might be able to establish with this being a system of communication, even if it's as simple as, can you drift up for yes? Can you drift down for no? I think I can communicate with it. And I think that my style of communication, which is very respectful and caring and wanting the best for everybody and non-exploitative and non-violent, I think that is maybe what they've been waiting for. So I've had one or two of my psychic friends tell me today that I am on the edge. I'm at the start of like a second level of communication with these beings. And I don't think those blue orbs are the only beings on that location. I think they might be sentries, protectors, observers. I'm speculating, but the feeling that I'm getting and the feeling that other people are giving me is that orb, those orbs, they have a job, they have a mission, they have a task, and it is to keep the peace in that location, keep people and other entities from coming to harm. And I think there are other entities there whom, when they see that I am going in there in a peaceful way, they might be willing to show themselves also. I'm going to read something to you that I wrote earlier on today. This will help. This will help to explain where I'm going with this in a more concise way. As more whistleblowers come forwards, and more UAP videos are released, and more congressional hearings are held, the world is moving towards an understanding that UFOs and non-human intelligences are real. I think that's coming. I think it's not far away that the world, that humanity is going to recognize officially that non-human intelligences exist. But how accurate will the world's understanding of aliens be? Will our non-human neighbors be embraced as friends or judged to be enemies? That's a real danger, and there are some people that are pushing in that direction. Will peaceful transfers of safe alien technology be respectfully negotiated with them, or will their technology be violently and indiscriminately seized? That's what's been happening. It's been officially not officially confirmed, it's been suggested by whistleblowers that what the industrial military complex has been doing is luring in these non-human craft and then shooting them down, luring them in with psionics, with psychic people, also with what they call dog whistles, which is a kind of technology that apparently can bring them in, and then using weapons like high energy microwave weapons to shoot them down and get their technology. These people are not interested in making friends with them. So I would like to do something different. Some people and organizations around the world are pushing the idea that aliens are a threat to humans. Some people, more than you might suspect, more than I originally suspected, are pushing the idea that they're demons. Some are pushing the idea that we need their technology to save us from the environmental problems that we are causing. None of those ideas are correct. None of those ideas are wise. And none of those ideas are likely to result in peaceful, harmonious, interspecies friendships. My conviction is that the real significance and value of the existence and proximity of advanced non-human entities in this region of space is that they could be our friends and we could be theirs. The vision of this group is universal peace. This group, the vision of me and my groups, is universal peace, universal love, and universal well-being. When I and we reach out to our non-human friends, it's done as a peaceful, loving, caring, non-discriminatory offer of friendship. My vision and my contact intention have the potential to lead to a worldwide understanding that aliens are not a threat to us. They're not demons. And having alien friends is a very good thing. So if you feel the same way that I do, and if you would like the world to move towards friendship with these beings instead of exploitation, then I respectfully consider that you join my Patreon group. And if you're willing to support me, I respectfully request that you join one of my Patreon group tiers, because it's the tiers which have a small monthly fee, which you can cancel at any time. It's those tiers that give me the support to do what I'm trying to do. So here is that again. Now, I know that people have been coming and going throughout this session. So I am going to show you that video one more time, so that I would like you to have in your mind while you're watching this video that this is a human being interacting with not an insect, not a piece of fluff. Scientifically, this is verifiable. When you look at that video, whether it's near or far, what we're seeing is a volume, a relatively large volume of non-solid something that easily you can see in this video has intelligence, it has purpose, it has intent. This is a human being interacting with a non-human intelligence. And this is something that opens the doorway now to me communicating with that being in a way that the world can know a message. And what is that message going to be? That message is going to be that peaceful, loving, respectful contact is valuable. So I'm going to ask you to just watch this video one more time and consider that what you're seeing, this is an important video. This, in my opinion, this video is as important as that classic Bigfoot video that you all can picture in your minds. It's as important as that classic photograph of the Loch Ness Monster that you can all picture in your minds. Now, I don't know if those two things are real, but I know that this thing is real. Do you see that orb? Hello? Oh, look at you. Hello. Welcome. My name is Rupert, and I'm wondering, who are you? Can you talk to me? Yeah, I can see you. What's your name? Oh, you're beautiful. Are you a alien? A non-human entity? Or are you a human spirit? You are not a lens flare. You're in a set location. When I move the camera backwards and forwards, I'm going to come closer to you. Whew. Okay, thank you for watching that again. So, what am I going to be doing in the next few days and weeks? Well, let me tell you, a lot of experts who have seen this video, they're interacting with me. They're sending me emails telling me how much this is, how special this video is. If you would like the inside story on everything that's unfolding, then join me in my group. This evening, in Tier 2 of my group, I'm doing a Galactic Council meeting. We're astrally projecting to a group of entities that's out there that represents a federation of different species. Sometimes we see orbs there. And we're going to investigate those orbs this evening, astrally. I am going next week to England to visit my family. My family lives in England, and I only get to see them once a year. But also, while I am there, I'm going to be hosting 3 contact events. If you would like to attend any of my contact events in England, go to my Patreon group, my Alien Contact Patreon group, and you can find all of the details already published there about those 3 events. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could bring in a big craft over London, like in that AI-generated image there? And when I come back in about 3 weeks' time, I'm going to go back to Sedona, and I'm going to camp out there for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to see if I can connect with that orb some more. So again, I hope you will consider joining me in this amazing journey that I'm on. I wish you all peace, love, and happiness, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care and goodbye.